Welcome to the MJ38 show, episode number 16. Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Muy dulce.
Deep in the tournament.
We are in it, baby.
I was number 16 on my JV football team. I'm the athlete this week.
Hey, shout out.
That turned into
How old are you?
16 years old.
No.
Yes, I was.
And we're on it. We're fucking in. You're in it with us. We're here together.
Welcome in.
The waters are warm. Hopefully your day's going fantastically. If not, fuck them. Chalk it up. Charge it to the game. Try again tomorrow.
Let's find it right now, right? We can just pause all that bullshit, and then now you're here with us, and hopefully it's good from here on out.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
That's it. The waters are warm. Beautiful Sunday. Back in it on a Sunday. We're kind of, I don't even know. We used to go on Thursdays. Sunday it is now. We're kind of just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Love having a Sunday off.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
It gets to a point where I just need to make a podcast for you guys. It's can't wait for another Thursday. Got to do it right now.
Yeah, as we talking, man. I love catching up with my boy here too.
Dude,
you know?
I miss you, dog.
Yeah,
fucking dog,
right
bro.
Yes, sir. He just came back from a week-long vacation, and I just mentioned last week prior to that, I was also on a little week-long vacation.
Oh, yeah.
We've been kind of moving and going, chugging along through life.
Yeah.
So yeah, how was your little stint off?
Dude, it was good. Spent a lot of time with my family, which is always good.
Family
I think
time.
Spend too long with your family, it can be a bad thing.
4 or 5 days.
That might be,
Then we're back.
That's relatable content. But yeah, we had a little condo out by the lake, really nice pool with a nice pool bar, big open field.
Summertime vibes, out in the sun.
Dude,
drinking alcohol.
I think you could see I've been on the lake for a couple
You got
days.
bronze.
So I got looking like a third place trophy right now, feeling
Yes, sir.
first place.
Always.
But yeah, I think so. One part that was funny is that when I was a little bit faded and I was laying back, we have so many athletes in our family. For at least me and 3 other my stepbrothers are 21, 21, and 24, and I'm 28, which is cool because we have a 4-player game anywhere we go.
We're ready to rock.
Yeah, just imagine you're gonna play Wii tennis. We've got 4 players, so it's just so fun. I was
perfect.
Chilling. We had been hooping all day, but hooping wasn't playing basketball. It was sand volleyball, pickleball, and spike ball.
Love it. I love me some spike ball.
Yeah, dude, so fun, right?
So fun.
Always have 4 players ready to go. It's so tight. And then Grace, obviously, too, athlete, get in the mix. Brooklyn, which is Brennan's wife, which is just crazy because
I got married recently, right?
Yeah,
a year ago or so.
For sure. And I remember them being in middle school when I was in high school, so it's just weird almost, but she's family. It's so cool. Yeah, so we're just out there deep everywhere we go.
Rolling deep. Summertime vibes.
And I was like, man, if there was a
vacay mode.
Millette family vacation, switch sports game, it would just be us 4, and then you could play pickleball, spike ball, or sand volleyball. And then you could play I don't know, that's just what we kept. It was a rotation of that.
Yeah.
One point we got to the sand volleyball court and there were 6 other people there, and we ran 6-on-6 with the whole squad.
Let's go.
Smoked them. Never stood a chance. No, Connor's filthy too. It was crazy finding out we had a player with 99 stats at sand volleyball just on the team. We're we're nasty. We're not gonna take an L now.
That's fucking tight. What was his role?
Dude,
was he a setter?
He could do everything. So just I guess he plays a lot of sand volleyball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he can set really good. He can dive for every ball, obviously, and then he gets up there and full on spikes on people. It's crazy because he's maybe 5'10", and his vertical's even a little less than mine. So I've got 4 or 5 inches on his overall reach.
Yeah.
And he just knows how to dunk though. He gets up there.
There's technique for sure. It's crazy. I remember playing some volleyball way back in the day at the YMCA with some of my boys Austin and Kyle and stuff. Back in, I guess we were in high school. No, we were in college. I think we were in college. So 19, 20. And just playing some indoor volleyball at the YMCA.
Yeah.
That shit was fun as hell.
It is, right?
Yeah, it's whenever you hit a good spike, it's there's the whole technique of going up and flicking the wrist down and slamming it.
Yeah.
Downwardly.
And dude, he would come off
get
with some of those. He'd be wow. He'd be very thrilled.
It could be as thrilling as a tomahawk dunk.
For real.
Mm-hmm. For real.
And
you just dunked on someone.
And they try to meet you at the net and stuff,
they meet you at the net.
Yeah.
So I love that part of volleyball.
It was cool. And then, I could get up there and I had a couple good spikes, for sure, but I didn't have the quite, there's a way to bounce off the sand, almost like a triple jump. If you can imagine, instead of crashing the net when the set is about to happen and then doing like a straight upward jump, if you like kind of hezzy a little bit until like the set leaves the hands and then do more of like a triple jump approach and like spring off the sand, that dude was going up there, bro. I was like, oh my God, that's my little brother. Watch out, I fucking headache, bro. For real.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. So, and then if you don't know, so that's sand volleyball. Spike ball is this game where there's like a circular net in the middle of a field. We had a big 100-yard turf field we could play on all day too. So that was.
Or you could play in the sand.
You could for sure, but like this resort just happened to have this really nice field, so we want to take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
So circular net that's like maybe like a yard in diameter, like all the way around, right? And then it's like a net in the middle that kind of has some give to it, but this little tiny volleyball, the volleyball the size of a softball is the ball you use, and you bounce it off of this like basically fishing net that's across this circular like structure that stands maybe a foot off the ground. So you serve this volleyball onto this net and it bounces off like at knee level or head level, but relatively like close to where you're at. And you have a partner and then you play against a partner of two and you have 3 hits like a volleyball game to get this ball back off of the net and to the other team.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're basically playing handball with a net. And at first it's kind of abstract. You're like, what the fuck? There's no way you could put together passes and like spike balls, but you can. Like,
yeah, it's like volleyball and like Foursquare.
Yes, Foursquare is a great one too because you're trying to bounce it off of the thing to the other team.
Yeah, in almost into an unretrievable way. You don't want to like bounce it past them or bounce it like really, really low and really soft sometimes when they're apprehensively back for a big slam.
Yeah,
you just tink.
There's ton of technique in there.
Yeah,
and then Connor is also filthy at spike ball. He's actually in the UTSA spike ball team.
Okay,
he actually won a tournament this year and won cash money. Like
how much cash money?
Like he took home like $120.
$120?
Yeah, like a weekend playing spike volleyball.
Give a fuck, dog. Yeah. He's a professional spike ball player in my book.
right.
Yeah, like amateur at least.
So he's super filthy. He was like, okay, you want to serve, like stand 6 feet back, and then like you take a step out this way, then they have to take a step that way. He's like,
there's a whole technique.
We could just play spike ball too, for real. But
that's awesome. I remember spike ball before it was ever like really popularized. Back in the day, when I was in college, I was like 21, 20. Yeah. And Kyle was playing. So that was fucking like 9 years ago.
He's like, these are the rules. I'm like, you guys made these up along the way. Like, I was there. I was there when the rules were very loosely bound by just like a few people, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It was like playing hopscotch like back in the day. You and your friends just playing this game. It was so fun.
Yeah, now they have it organized.
Now it's on ESPN.
Yeah, shit like that, bro.
Yeah, yeah, that's badass. And they have it like in organized like leagues in college.
Yeah. That's
badass too.
Yeah, super cool, right? The way it's like intramural football, but then at a bigger school, they have these like clubs that play against other clubs, like Quidditch. That's a big one. A huge sport.
Texas State was pretty good, if I remember correctly. Yeah, whenever we were there,
I was talking some shit about how I wish we had some hoops out here on this big ass field. I was like, I just want to play more games out here. We play some Quidditch or some shit.
Play some Quidditch.
Connor was like, UTSA won first place at nationals and beat Harvard in the Quidditch World Cup.
That's awesome.
This year.
Harvard seems like a fitting team that would be in the Quidditch World Cup. Why am I wrong in saying that?
No, I made a similar joke, bro. I was like, you get it.
It would be Harvard.
And no, UTSA and Harvard went head to head, and UTSA took them out.
Wow, that's badass.
That's crazy, right?
I wish I knew more about the intricacies of the scoring and how it works.
I don't know. But
I'm sure it's fun.
Yeah, people love it.
Yeah.
So,
but spike ball's tight. Spike ball's super tight.
Same realm of club sport, and then
obscure ESPN Ocho shit.
Pickleball was our third ESPN Ocho sport of the family vacation that we got to play.
The trifecta cup.
And dude, pickleball is fun, bro. Like
it's like big ping pong.
Yes.
So it's like intermediate tennis. It's like this tennis, pickleball, and then ping pong.
Just right.
Right there. It's the Goldilocks.
I'm gonna be honest. It really made me want to play tennis again.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I never played. It's like tennis?
Yes.
Okay.
I think if you've never played tennis, pickleball would be really fun. And I think if you like tennis a lot, pickleball will just make you want to play tennis.
Okay.
Because it's...
In a good way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because pickleball is like the racket. I didn't understand how the racket would work, right? Mm-hmm. But imagine like a racket just... the way a tennis racket gets smaller to a racquetball racket, that same dimension smaller but bigger than a ping pong paddle is like a quiffle ball racket. What are we talking about? Pickleball racket.
Yeah. It's like a paddle almost more than a racket.
For sure, but as a tennis player, it feels like a racket in your hand. Like I wanted to spin it and
it's got the grip.
Yeah. And so the only difference is though, instead of having strings across it, the one that I was using, it was made of graphite. So imagine like the lead of a pencil, I guess, but just really thick, like a tablet of it placed across like basically plastic, and like you're hitting. You can't put spin on the ball. Like maybe you kind of could like a fraction of a degree if you were able to slice
Just
it
like,
right.
Yeah, like the direction of your slice.
Right.
But there's no grip on or no traction and friction.
Not a whole lot. We were using wiffle balls or stuff that was basically a wiffle ball. So between the graphite and the wiffle ball, not really.
Not a lot of grab.
Maybe if you had like a racket ball, you could like get some spin on there.
Yeah.
But what it was is tennis with no spin control. So you really have to like slap the shit out of the ball. And like it was so.
Does it bounce? No
yes.
bouncing. Okay.
We played on a clay court at first, and the bounce was like non-existent. I was like, I can't do this, bro. We're just like diving for everything.
Yeah.
And then we went to like a hard court, and then it was like a plastic wiffle ball, more or less. So we were getting bounce on it, and the rallies were getting like crazy, bro.
Really?
Like like 20-hit rallies.
That's fun as fuck.
For real, dude. It was so fun.
That sounds tight.
Yeah, but it's also this obscure game that you wouldn't really normally play. But we were just like a little bit fucked up, or I was definitely like took two or three shots before we'd go play pickleball for like 2 or 3 hours, and we would just be competing. And like it's so funny. Like my mom would say that for the first 2 beers, like she would get better at darts, and then like I get what she's saying. There's something about alcohol that somehow just like dials you in a little bit. And then I feel like you just have to like maintain that dialed point. Like don't get too drunk and don't yourself come too down. And it's like this weird thing that I would never normally deal with while I'm playing sports.
Yeah.
But just like in this moment on vacation, I was just having fun with it, right? And I was just like staying a little buzzed, like right in that sweet spot. And then I'd be crashing, dude.
I think there's some professional athletes who fiddle with that ideology. Just take a couple shots before a game real quick and just get fucking loose, baby. I think the alcohol gives you the it definitely gives you like is it inhibition?
Yeah.
Or it's like you're just like you don't give a fuck.
It takes away
you don't give
inhibition.
A fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like you know what the consequences are, but you're just not like you're like the same nerves are there, or the same critics are going to be there, and like the same anxiety is present, but you're not as susceptible to it.
Yeah, or swayed by that with your decision.
You're just kind of drunk. It's like fuck it, give me the rock.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, there was
not a whole lot of doubt going on.
We were down, dude. We were down 18-23 in pickleball, playing at 25. And me and Brendan
rally, brother.
We had to make a stand, bro. It was me and Dylan, and we made a fucking stand, and we brought it back to deuce. And I was so hyped. I was like, I could have been Michael Jordan playing against the Pistons, just like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, bro. It was fun. It's fun, like just
so fun.
Getting into that mode, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember they're like my little brothers, and so I almost feel bad. Almost.
They're old enough,
dude. They're old enough.
They're men. In society's eyes, they're men. All of them are legal to drink. They're men.
It didn't stop me from slamming the next 2 points. So we won 25-23.
I believe that. Meet me at the net.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was a really good game. I got my ass kicked the next day in the spike ball tournament, like bad. So they get theirs, I get mine.
Yeah, it's an even trade.
So
it's all in the name of good competition.
A ton of these weird, obscure sports mixed with a lot of drinking at the pool. There's a couple nice restaurants we ate at, a couple hole in the walls we found, local brewery that brewed beer you could take with you and leave with. But it was
I like going to breweries. Going to breweries is fun.
Right? What is that?
It's like I guess I've only been to a couple. Like it's a whole vibe usually, because usually there's like an indoor and an outdoor section, and typically in the outdoor section, the people have their dogs and shit.
Right.
Everyone's just chilling. Typically they have some sort of corner area with like a bookshelf full of fucking old ass not card games, but board games.
Dude, keep going. You're 2 for 2.
Yeah, right. They got some sort of fucking Jenga shit going on. Probably don't have any food, but they might have some food trucks in the area.
Dude, they had a restaurant in this one, but
got some flights and shit.
We like found one that had food in it on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, there you go. See, yeah.
Dude, cash
out.
Time. And then the flight of beers was the thing that made it for me.
Bang.
Was that like I didn't really want to? I didn't really want a beer, but like I was down for a flight. That's cool.
Yeah, I want to try all these different kinds of things. What you got? What's going on here? Inform me. It's kind of cool to learn.
And I would never just drink a whole one. Like I guess like there's a couple that I just know. Like I know like a Mexican beer I'll probably always like, or like if it's like a blonde ale I'll probably always like that. But I wanted to like try some of the other shit, and I was just like not gonna get into it.
I don't want a whole beer.
Fuck that. But then when you
I don't like
when you break it down like that, and then you get it's like non-committal. That'll make people will spend money to not commit. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Can I have a little bit of everything? It's like yeah.
It's nuts, bro.
I enjoyed that idea for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, then we like I got a flight, Brennan gets a flight, and then we just like pass around the beers.
Mix and match. See what everybody tries everything. On.
We got 8 different beers between the two of us, you know?
Yeah.
And
You definitely got to order the one with the highest alcohol. You got to try that out.
So Brendan got this one that was really high.
The Trapel, typically.
Okay, that guy's knowledgeable as fuck.
On it.
This one was an oatmeal ale. But then it was Imperial something oatmeal ale. And then he got that the first time we went, and I didn't get a flight of beer the first time. But then the second time we went, I did get a flight of beer. And then we both got the same beer, but it was barrel aged. And it was like one of the higher alcohol content percentage ones. That shit was just stout as fuck. Then Brennan bought like
beers will get you.
They're like 32-ounce beers that they put in a can for you, and like
boy.
yeah, he buys 2 of them, one for him and one for Dylan, and that was what sucker punched them. I had told Justin the story about.
They weren't ready for that.
One of the drunkest times I've ever seen them was after they drank all of that shit. So. Those craft beers ain't nothing to play with,
it's
dude.
Sneaky, because in your mind it's a beer, which typically has like 4 or 5% alcohol.
Yeah.
But some of those higher ones, some of those higher alcohol percentage beers can get up with like 10, 12, 14% alcohol.
Yeah.
Which is like some fucking wine. So you're down like
32 ounces of that to the face.
That's like 6 beers, maybe 7 or 8.
Just on top of everything else
Everything
had
else
that day.
you drink, yeah, and it doesn't feel like that mentally because it's just a beer,
right? They would save those ones for the end of the night too.
Whoa.
Yeah, like the final pool trip. Oh man, good vacation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fun. It's
Yeah.
a good time, and it's always it's fun to go do stuff. So summer vibes, especially being out in the water, drinking alcohol in the sun, moving your body, playing volleyball and shit, having fun. And then the non-obligation of life. It's like the vacation of the obligation of regular day-to-day.
Yeah.
Laundry and shit.
It was crazy. Like the 3rd or 4th day that I was just at vacation, I like looked at what time it was, and it was like 4:12 or something like that. And I just had like the existing like neuron to fire for like between 4 and 4:30 is like team dinner. And so like my brain flashed there, and I was like, haven't thought about that shit in a minute. Like I forgot about all of that shit.
Took a whole like 3 days to get back to it.
For real, and then, like, I don't know.
Nice.
I put it back away really quick. But it was just, in that moment, I was like, that's cool about vacation is that you're literally able to, like, step away from all of that shit. And I just think for your brain chemistry, like, it's good to be on a different wave of processing. Because you can, like, feel different things, which lets you release different chemicals, which allows you to find a different balance for your, like, mental health and for your body chemistry to, like, sit at. But if you're in the same, like, routine and the same environment and the same stressors, like, every single day, then I think you get stuck sometimes in like a chemical imbalance where like your thoughts progress and evolve to where you could like think yourself out of how you feel maybe, but it's just nice to like literally be in a different environment and have yourself feel different things with those thoughts and then combine that recipe. And I guess sometimes you have to go back to your old stressors, but I just think you can change your perspective. Like personally, every time I go on vacation, I try to like come back with a different perspective, like on purpose. And I think you can do that, you know?
Yeah, did you do that? Did you do that this time?
It was hard to find time. It was hard to find time.
But no, I think you're right. I think there is something that goes on whenever, even like subconsciously, whenever, I think there's also maybe a true thing that I've heard. I forget what research may be backing this, but whenever you go to a different environment, like a different state or a different city, just literally a different environment, then your body has to be more alert because you're in this new environment. And like if you drive to work the same way every single day for a month, like your drive to work isn't your drive to work anymore. Like you kind of tune that out. You kind of don't even really realize it. But then whenever you're in a different environment, you don't know where the hell you are. You're on constant alert. So like that constant alert or whatever that is, that demand of the environment, the nuance or the novelty of the new area will bring something out of you to like match that or to like, I guess, explore it. We're like exploratory creatures.
Yeah.
And in that exploration, you probably find more of yourself or release more of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some shit going on like that.
And you need that every now and then. It's like,
yeah, so it's good.
I think on one hand, it's really nice. I've like been on vacation where I have this like revelatory, like these thoughts that kind of come to me and I'm like, oh, like I was thinking these things and I finally got to this place where I can evaluate, you know, how those thoughts played out on the stage. Now that I've evaluated how those thoughts played out on the stage and I have this freedom to kind of just like think about that, now I see this angle on it and I'm going to progress into doing it this way. And it's nice, like, to step away, have the perspective, take the perspective and apply it immediately. Whereas this time there were just like a ton of factors that took away what would have been my alone time is like the best way to describe it. And like within that, I think that like the perspective change did happen. I just didn't have time to figure out the new application process. But I think that was like on purpose. Like I kind of trust like a bigger plan than mine. So it's like I feel like being stuck in this perspective stage is like kind of what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I feel like that perspective switch is just like having more patience for like all of this. Like I feel like time is happening. It's like really slow, but it is happening. So like you're right here progressing like entirely slowly, and I feel like instead of like just like leaning so far forward that I want to fall forward, it's almost like I can figure out how to like sit back and then just like cross my legs and like I'll progress forward, and then I can just like receive my blessings like this. And I think that's better because, you know, you don't want to like, personally, when I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't want to reach out or fall into something that like I didn't mean to do or like didn't see coming, because like it'll fuck up the natural progression of everything that's like happening anyways, even though it's just really slow.
Yeah. That's tight.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah. It felt
perspective.
It felt good to like understand that thing. And it was just like,
kind of a deeper understanding of patience, or like another unfolding of what patience means.
Yeah. Cause I've already been trying to like wrap my head around, I feel like I learned discipline and my life changed a lot for the better. And I feel like patience was the next thing that I was like, okay, if I learn that, things will get a lot better too. But it's just like, what does patience mean to you guys? Like, I think patience is one of those words that I don't think we think that it means something different to everybody else. Like when I say it, you think that I'm talking about what you think patience is, and then I say it and I think that you're talking about what I think patience is. But I think like if you ask anybody like what does patience mean to you, it'd be a different answer from every person or a lot of people. Yeah. And I think it's just like you can't have anything right now, but you have to act like you're going exactly where you want to go. It's like, how do you do both of those at the same time? It's like hard.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah, and it's like that's patience is how you do it, though.
Yeah, yeah. How you bridge that paradoxical gap of like not having the thing you want, but still wanting it, but not being but being okay with not having it. Yes, it's just like that's patience. It's exactly. Like, flip that.
It's like it looks like this in my mind. It's almost like a coin. Like you can't you can't look at both sides of the coin at the same time. You know. And yeah. Because if you were perfectly okay with not having it, well, then you'd never need...
You don't really want it.
Right? Right? But like...
Do you even really want it?
Right? But you need to be okay with not having it. Like, you need to be okay. It's so crazy, bro. So, like, how... And then I can't really verbalize exactly how to, like, do that, but I know it looks like this. Like, you're traveling forward and you need to just, like, cross your legs and levitate and, like, go forward, like, with the time.
Yeah, and I think symbolically what you're talking about also made sense in my mind insofar as not leaning forward or trying not to like lean so far forward that you fall or fall into like a hole that was on the way to going where you're supposed to go, but you fell into a hole because you were so ahead of yourself or trying to go too quick or whatever. Yeah. Super desperate to whatever.
Desperate's a great word. That's the word that I don't want to hear you use to describe what I'm talking about because it's so cutting. But it's true. That's desperate energy, right?
Right, yeah. If you're just like, oh, come on.
Part of it is like, so there's also like variables and degrees, like because there's levels and layers. You got to pray for the players. Like
pray for them.
Sometimes you do need to be willing to fall forward instead of fall backwards. Like I'm willing to die falling across the goal line. Like I'm not gonna get pushed back on it.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
First down, baby. That way.
Move those fucking chains, bro. Yes. So like that part of my spirit is where I was like leaning forward so far forward. But then from that perspective, I was like, oh, okay. Now at this point, like you might fall into somewhere we didn't mean to go. Like you cross the finish line. You need to like sit up and just let time carry you the rest of the way. And I was like, okay, that's tight.
Yeah, I think that's right as well, because I think there's balance to it, and like you can't be falling backwards is not good.
No, and that is the natural inclination. Or I had to coach myself into falling forwards because I was just naturally like...
I think that's the default.
Yeah, you kind of get hit and you fall back.
Yeah, it's really easy to let the lawn just grow.
Yeah, exactly. And like the days are hard, so sometimes you're getting hit by the day. But then like the flip side of that is like I'm hard, I'm hitting the day. That was the falling forward like metaphor.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I feel that.
And it turned into like if I was going to fail, I was going to fail like at work. I was going to pass out at work. I was going to fail literally like I was going to fail like completing my task. I wasn't going to fail by calling in.
Here's your ribeye. It's out in the dining room.
I had visions of that sometimes.
He's a fucking G. He's a fucking G.
In the last month or two, when I knew I was getting to that break, I was just like, "Oh, I'd rather fail forward." Like, but then I was like, "Okay, like you crossed that threshold." So I guess what I'm also saying is that like sometimes someone's advice is coming from a stage in life that like you're not necessarily at. Like, I was watching Kirk Cousins by Dwayne Wade's book. And he was like, it's crazy to me to read this book now, being like a professional athlete, because I read it from the perspective of like, this is a grown man who like successfully had a basketball career. Like his marriage is successful. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like his body is, well, he was able to perform at an older age. Like all these things that I want in my life. Whereas when I was a kid, I read it as like, I want to have this life someday. But now I read it of like, man, the way he runs like his life is almost like a business. I'm like, how does he do accounting? Like, how does he do this? Like, I need to like pick up on what he's doing so that way I can try to like also help my life go better. But like when you read a book or you take someone's advice, it's crazy. Like if you can have perspective of where you're at and where they're at, then you can like truly appreciate the advice. Because sometimes it's like not gonna be like for you in that moment, you know?
Yeah, it might go over your head,
right?
Or not be. Yeah, it's like the same way that you could read a book. You could read the same book 5-10 years later, and you'll derive completely different lessons from it, or like those lessons that you derived earlier, or the meaning that you initially found, you'll be able to like actually apply it, or it'll be like much more personal. You'll be like, oh my God, yes.
I had no clue.
Yeah,
that's nuts, bro. That's really cool. So yeah, sometimes I guess when I'm talking to the podcast people, I'm like, man, what we're going through may not necessarily be like what you're going through, you know? But when we talk about patience, like the trueness of patience, I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah.
Which would be how you have to be okay with not having it and have it at the same time.
Yeah, you gotta have the desire. Having the desire is okay. I guess some people would claim that that's not okay. I guess that comes with the detachment though, because you don't want to be too attached to your desire so much so because you'll make yourself suffer for not having it. But yeah, it's the balance of having the desire for it, but also being okay with the patience of not having it and being grateful for the now of not having it.
Yeah.
Still having that gratitude, but being able to try to manifest it. Some crazy shit.
That was another thing that kind of hit me in the face was just like how much of my life do I not enjoy just because it doesn't look like how I want it to look like yet. It's like, that's a ton of life. So much life you could just be like not enjoying because you're not like where you want to be.
Yeah. The grass is always greener.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
Crazy cliche.
And then, how much of your energy is suffering because you're suffering for no reason.
Making yourself go through that.
Dude, you could be like way bigger than you're being.
Yeah. It's easy to get stuck, though. It's easy to get stuck down there.
So, that's views from my vacation. That's kind of like...
Vacation views.
Yeah. Conclusion to my takeaways.
Sounds fun as hell.
It was tight.
You gotta love some water. And some bowling. Bowling. A little tipsy. Bowling.
Yeah, I think I
wonder how many athletes go through that.
They called you and I was just like, dude, I'm just getting faded and hooping.
Yep.
Just getting faded and hooping. That's all I've been doing. Yeah, dude, dream vacation.
Sounds like a good time.
I'm sure that's what athletes do. I mean, I don't know. So addiction's like a real thing. Some people like probably don't want to mix their sport with their vice. But I'm sure on vacation, Odell Beckham, they drink and play volleyball and shit and hang out. You know
I'm sure. But I think there might be a couple players that take a shot before a game. Maybe
Marshawn Lynch said he did that.
I think that's who it was.
Yeah,
I thought I remembered hearing something about that in the past.
I'm pretty sure he said he took a double shot of Hennessy. I could be wrong. He's like, I'll take that. Boom, let's go.
Beast mode,
ready to go. And I was just like, that makes sense. Like
30 seconds, got the right amount of inhibition. I don't give a fuck, coach. I'm running over anybody.
That's tight. I know Michael Jordan said when he got to the Bulls, it was like a cocaine circus.
Oh, yeah, whenever he first initially got drafted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then later on, he's like, dude, everybody was drinking on the team when I first got to the team. And they were getting the beer from the coaches.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Be like that.
80s basketball, too, you can imagine. Like, I don't know, man.
Wild cocaine cowboys in this bitch.
Crazy. Also, they live by a different code. Like when you're like waking up, because when you wake up and just work out, and then like your whole craft is like this basketball thing. I can't imagine doing that for like 5 or 6 years. You're like out of the hum of what like a natural constraint of what people view life to be. You could just have a beer before practice. You're like, I'll be fine. I'm gonna sweat it out in like 30 minutes. Like, I don't know, man.
Different life
to think about. I was watching that Netflix series Quarterback.
Okay, yeah.
It follows Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota, and Patrick Mahomes, and I was just like, different life, just a different life, dude.
Bro, yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, we can talk more about that later, but
that sounds tight.
Yeah, that's where those ideas came from.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's facts. It's good.
Yes.
What about for you, bro? Your vacation was also about a week long.
Yeah, good whole week off. I guess it was the week of the 4th, the week of July 4th. We were off that whole week. It was nice, same sort of thing, but we didn't really go anywhere. We just stayed home, it was super nice because I don't like going out too long on a vacation because like whenever I come back, I guess unless you plan it out properly. If I do have like a long vacation, I want to have I need to have some time to like reacclimate whenever I come back. You know what I'm saying? I like to have some time before I leave to like get ready to leave, go, come back, and then whenever I come back, I like to have some time to resettle back in, get situated with the home, and then get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's hard to put up that whole suit of you back on.
Yeah, it's like, I guess, yeah, some people, I guess you might be working up until one day before you leave and then go on like a week-long vacation and like come back and like go work the next day.
You're
like,
cracked.
That's cracked behavior.
Yeah, what?
It's cracked behavior, y'all, for anyone.
What are you doing?
If you haven't already learned that lesson, learn it now.
Or you could be a savage. Like, I get it.
Yeah, or just know whenever you do it, it's going to be a rainy day. It's going to be that work shift is going to be rough, and it might lead to rough getting back into things with your laundry and your dishes and all the other shit you got to do in life.
Yeah, everything can be behind.
Yeah, so on the vacay, I like to have some time to get back into the swing. So it was nice. We stayed in San Antonio, but we did stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So we had Monday and Friday to kind of like chill. You know what I'm saying? It was tight. It was like perfect. On the 4th of July, we went to Six Flags.
Nice.
Yeah, never been to. I guess we've been to Six Flags plenty of times, but never been there for they have like a fireworks show at the very end at like
Classic.
9. Yeah, like 9 o'clock.
I think I went to that one time when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. Because San Antonio's always been big for Six Flags.
Yeah, I guess it's acclaimed to be one of the biggest or one of the best. I think it might be the biggest, and I think it might be the only one that has a water park.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it might be the biggest and the only one with a water park in the nation.
So one time we traveled to that Six Flags just for like
because it's the fucking one of the ones.
Yeah. And then we saw the fireworks show and I was like, this is crazy, yo.
It was lit.
Yeah.
It was really good.
That's crazy.
It was tight. It was probably a good like 15 minutes long worth of like it was a firework and like a coordinated drone light show. Like the drones would like the fireworks went off for the first initial, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then the drones like went up in rows of 2. There was like maybe like 5 or 6 rows. It was just like, and like there was like 6 of them just like lined up, and then they all spread out and did their thing and like changed colors and like in tandem and shit. Like, it was cool, really really organized and synchronized.
Dude, that's gas, bro.
Yeah, so it was like a firework and drone light show, laser light show, like all for like 15 minutes. It was badass.
That's tight.
It was tight. It was really really cool, and I fucking love Six Flags.
Fireworks are crazy, right?
Yeah.
Was it, as an adult, are fireworks still just as crazy to you as when we were kids?
I guess it depends on what you mean. I guess yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe they're not as mysterious, and because they're not as mysterious, maybe they're not as like dangerous in our minds.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe we know how dangerous they are now.
So it's not as just like cool, like it's kind of like just fire and explosions when you're a kid.
Like, wow. Or maybe, but you don't know what the fuck's going on. You just know it's like, back the fuck away, back up. Don't touch that.
Yeah.
It's that's tight. Like, wow. But yeah, you still get that wow.
Yeah.
But you still kind of know, you know the magic trick, but like it's still just as cool.
I was going to say, a good fireworks show really sets off like a 4th of July. Or like a Memorial Day. I really, 4th of July is It's
the 4th of New Year's, right? That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I was like, there was another day. Else? It's New Year's, right?
Yeah. When else are we doing fireworks?
I remember I saw a fireworks show where there was a parade. That would have been like 4th of July probably, right? You don't really do a New Year's parade.
Maybe. No, typically not, because you're waiting at nighttime for the sheesh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't organize the global events.
But fireworks sales are massive in January and July. Those are the 2 events. I think you're right.
Or in December?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I was thinking about that too. Because while we were waiting for the countdown or the fireworks show to start, there was a countdown like projected onto like the rocks while everyone was kind of gathering and sitting around, and it was fucking packed, bro. Packed. So many people.
Like how many?
If I had to guesstimate, at least like probably like 4,000 or 5,000.
Nice. That's a lot of people.
A couple racks worth of people for sure, man. There was so many people, bro. So many fucking people, dog. It was crazy. So many cars. But on the countdown, it was going down, and it started at like with 10 minutes on the clock, and then it got down to like the final 10 seconds, and then everyone's counting down from 10, and I was like, oh, this feels like New Year's. And then like in that moment, I was like, oh, this is like half New Year's, and I was like, New Year's is like the only other firework displayed holiday. And I was like, and they're like exactly like halfway apart, or like, you know what I'm saying?
It's almost like we need.
It's like halfway through the year, we're like, halfway through, baby! America!
Set them off!
Then at the end of the year, we're like, yeah, another one on the board!
That's so funny.
It's like half New Year's.
I mean, People, I don't. Yeah, I
But
don't.
it was tight.
I don't know how much people love celebrating the 4th of July right now, just in current American culture. But gotta love some fireworks. Gotta love some beer on them when the sun's out. Who doesn't love drinking when the sun's out?
Cold beer on a hot day.
Come on now.
God damn it, that's America.
Yeah, I think people work their whole lives so that they can have a boat for that one day. Just so you could be on a boat while you're having your cold beer on a hot day.
I remember having a 4th of July experience on a boat a couple times.
That's like the fucking American dream.
Yeah, there was one where it was like Carlos and Charlie's. Wasn't that a restaurant one time? Once upon a time in Austin somewhere.
Carlos and Charlie's?
Yeah, I remember one time they did like a firework display on the 4th. And they have like their restaurants like on the water or some shit.
That's tight, bro.
I can't remember exactly. I was young.
It's fucking tight.
But yeah, I've had some 4th of July boat experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's America.
Yeah, we're trying to get there, bro.
I love it.
Yeah, people love talking about their boat they used to have, boat they want to get.
Driving boats, fishing boats.
How much they hate boats, how much they love boats.
How much it costs to have a boat.
Yeah. Best day of my life was selling that boat.
God damn,
Miss
I
it
love
every
selling
fucking
that boat.
day. It's like, what?
That was my neighbor's problem. Fucking prick.
Such a complicated subject. But
Yes.
yeah, I think we'd like to have a boat someday for 4th of July type vibes.
Yes, man. But it was tight. I love Six Flags too. I love roller coasters. That's my thing. That's one of my
Really?
things. I love them.
Not for me.
Not for everyone.
Does that
right?
just make me
Not
not
for
as much a
everyone.
man? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure what measure people would be using.
It's just scary. I mean,
All I will say is that Jasmine is definitely getting on a lot of roller coasters.
my mom would say the same thing to me when I was a kid. Yo, she'd be like, "That little girl is getting right on that
You see
roller."
her? You see how tall she is?
She'd be like, "I don't know, mom. Like this thing
She's
is
a savage.
You're just gonna throw us around for fun."
You're just gonna risk my life.
One time I was in a roller coaster that like the seat harness thing like popped out, and it was one that went upside down. So I was like, I was with you actually.
I think this sounds familiar.
I was like with my best friend Justin was the next part of that story.
I was there. I think that was at a motherfucking. I think we were in Dallas at like a rodeo or some shit.
Yeah, like the Texas State Rodeo or some
Yeah,
shit
they were
like
having
that.
a carnival outside or whatever, with all those kind of attractions and fucking fried Twinkies and shit.
That was scary, bro. I thought we were gonna die.
I remember that. And then there was that one time. Wait, was it me or you? I think it was that same place. Whenever we were riding another roller coaster, it wasn't a crazy one, but I think it was like one of those ones where you spin around. Was it you or me that puked?
Your cousin puked on the roller coaster.
Oh, okay, it was my cousin.
And then
You and I were trying to get the guy's attention.
I think so. She threw up, dog.
We were yelling obscenities at this gentleman, trying to get him to stop the ride, in our 11-year-old selves. Because my cousin at the time, she was throwing up. I'm pretty sure she was not feeling it.
Not feeling it.
I remember that.
But then as soon as
Okay.
I think we kept going after she got off, and then we went nuts. We were like, and then as soon as we get off of the teacup that's like spinning on a spinning wheel, I threw up all over the ground, like right outside the attraction. I was like, "Thanks, that was awesome."
What an advertisement! What a sale right there! Come on.
For real. And then I think we went on the other ride. I was just like, man, really thought we were gonna pop out of that thing.
Damn. Yeah. And I guess ever since, have you lost the trust? Have you lost the trust in roller coasters ever since?
That might be what it is. I think they're intended to freak you out.
Yes, for sure, 100%. It's like a fucking haunted house. Like people go in there to get scared.
Yes.
They pay money to walk around that shit.
Both of those ideas perplex me. I don't want to be in that situation.
Fair enough.
I'm intrigued now. Now I'm down to do a haunted house. Just the problem with roller coasters, I think, is that my trust has been broken. Like, I've been freaked out enough. I'm down. I'll do it next time. I'll see what the hype's about.
We'll see. It's fun. I love it. I love them.
This is all peer pressure. All of my gut says, no, they're terrible. Don't do it. Like, why?
I love Six Flags also because they have the water park, as I mentioned. And I think it might be the only one with a water park. And the water park is lit. It's huge.
Really?
Yeah, they have like a dope-ass lazy river, and then they have like a dope-ass wave pool.
Really?
And yeah, super chill. Just like chilling. They have great margaritas. Having a great time.
Here's a question. Like, what's the best way to digest water? Like, not with your stomach, but I mean, like, when it's hot, everyone wants to go to water, right?
Getting some cold water.
Yeah, I've definitely
You don't want to
realized,
get warm water.
like, the culture changes when it gets really hot. Everyone starts being like, I got to get to water. I got to go to a lake. I got to go to a pool. I got to do something.
Yeah, there was like, it feels like that. I remember last summer we didn't go, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing out. I'm missing out, man.
The body's calling for water.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so there's that magnetism, that draw. And then I was just like trying to figure out, like, going to a lake, like, isn't that fun unless you have a boat? Then it's fun. But like, unless you go to the right kind of lake, like,
Unless you go to the right place.
right?
We went to a lake.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
On our vacation, I think on the next day on our vacation, we went to we went to Six Flags on Tuesday, which was the 4th, and then on the 5th we went to Chalk Bluff, which is out in Uvalde, like an hour and 20 or so plus minute drive, and it was like it was like dope. We just like went and parked our car, and it was like this like kind of secluded like river area, like kind of lake kind of thing. Like you just like walk into the water, put your fucking chairs in there, set up your little canopies, little grill.
That's tight.
And you're chilling.
That's tight.
It was dope.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to a lake where you can like set up a grill, set up like a spot. You're chilling. You can make food. You can have alcohol. There's a lot of lakes that like are weird about the alcohol. You got to make sure like everything's good, and then that's super ideal. But yeah, like a lot of people float the river. I don't like floating the river as much as I like chilling at the river.
Yeah,
I feel like that's more enjoyable.
Yeah,
just kind of like stuck in a tube, you know. And then I get bored of being in the tube, and I'm like, well, let me drink some alcohol. But then, like, that doesn't solve the problem. I'm still in the tube as soon as I've done.
For another couple hours. Sometimes, depending on how long the flow can be and how fast the river's flowing.
Right. And then I, like, want to throw the football or...
Yeah, and you're, like, in a tube and you don't want to fucking... If you miss the football, you might hit somebody. It's some awkward shit.
It gets stuck on the side.
Yeah.
Get out of your tube and step on the fucking weird logs and rocks. You get it.
God knows how many snakes are in that motherfucker.
More than you think, probably.
I've definitely seen one.
Really?
I've seen a couple.
Oh, man.
Floating the river before. Floating like the San Marcos River.
Isn't that scary?
Mm-hmm. It was scary as fuck.
I saw a snake on my way to Horseshoe Bay. I was just like turning. I was like right in Marble Falls, and I turned into a Sonic because I needed some food. It was like 1 a.m. I was getting there real late, and I turn into their drive, and just in the middle of the drive is like this big ass snake. And
drive of the Sonic?
Yeah. And
where you park your car?
Like, so you had to like turn off the road and go up a hill, and then you were like in where the little like stables are and shit for the like the Sonic, what a Sonic looks like.
The car stables. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
And then, but like they had like a driveway, just like maybe like a 15-foot long like ramp that led up to that like car stable place.
Yeah.
And then there was a snake just sitting there, and my instinct was, it was probably like 4 feet long.
Okay. Big
enough that I was like, oh shit, even in my car.
Snake.
And then I was gonna like swerve to avoid it, and then my brain was like, why would you do
Run that fucker over.
It was just like that.
Splatter that bitch.
And I was like, that's a dark voice. Like, where does that come from? It was like a real moment of like, should I kill this snake? And then ultimately I did decide to drive straight over it.
In my mind, like as I'm like mentally driving with you, like part of my instinct initially is to move out of the way.
Right?
Yeah, I don't want to fuck my car up, or I don't know. I
don't
know.
I just could have like, it was at an angle where I felt like I could have like swerved around him. You know what I'm saying? It was like off-centered to the left just enough where I was like, my instinct was like, avoid the death of this thing. And then I was like,
seems normal to me.
Kill it? It's a snake.
Maybe killing it's a good thing.
Right? And in that moment, it was just like this weird, like...
Did you kill it?
Dude, I swerved back into the path to kill this snake, right?
Okay.
But like my moment of, this, just like the impulse to not kill it gave it enough time to like slither away.
Oh.
So whenever I come back, like maybe I clip its tail or maybe not, but I'm looking in my little mirror to see, and I see like the end of it
It still gets into the grass off the road.
And I was like... Lucky son of a bitch.
You got lucky, bitch.
And I was like, is that my fault? Did I let that snake crawl to see?
I wish we could flash to that snake's POV right now. What's he up to?
I don't know. He might not even been a poisonous snake.
Yeah, maybe he just had to go back to his snake girlfriend. He's like, baby, you almost got me, baby. Clip my tail, baby.
I can't be going over there no more.
I love you, baby. I'm going to change my ways, baby. Life's too short, baby.
Let's have a baby, baby. It was funny, bro.
Could have turned that snake's life around. But what we talking about snakes.
Oh, just you saw a couple in the water.
Oh yeah, whenever we float the river, I saw a couple in the water one time. Fucking snakes.
So I'm not really trying to float the river like
something
that.
in their DNA. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Some people like snakes. Some people have fucking pet snakes.
I think it's cap.
What's wrong with y'all?
I think it's cap. I think they like.
Mike had one. My stepdad. Sorry, go on.
If I had to guess, I don't know, but I think he likes being comfortable in the repulsion. I think that's the draw.
Yeah, maybe it's like acclimation to the dark side.
Yeah.
It's like turning out the grass, like Dragon Ball Z training in like a high gravity chamber. When you go back to regular gravity, you're like, oh fuck, this is nothing.
Yeah, like I hang out. Yeah, exactly right. Like something that would make you go like like you can't help but pull away from
Like
the snake. Yeah,
don't hit me. Ah.
you kind of like.
Show me here.
That's so hard. I want a snake now. No, I'm just kidding.
Fucking python.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I think it's something about the fact that your draw is to be grossed out by it, and then like I don't know if people enjoy being like diminishing that. They're like, no, it's not scary. Mm-hmm. Maybe as like a metaphor for like life's not as scary as you would think.
I think people say the phrase that they use often is that is misunderstood. As far as like snakes and tarantulas and shit like that, as far as like keeping them as pets.
Oh man,
like they're just misunderstood. I empathize with that.
Okay,
and they love them.
And it's a creepy love, right? I mean, like, not in a mean way. If you own a tarantula, I know a lot of hot girls that own spiders. Like, it's like a
really
almost like cliche. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's something about being like I think it's like you said, like
close to danger,
or like being misunderstood. Sounded like that hit more on the nose. I feel like some girls like, especially like you just see a lot of people in society maybe don't grow up like super, or like they kind of like blossom into an attractive person. Kind of like we did in a sense. And then like having to like cope with that is like not difficult. I think if you make it too difficult, you're kind of a bitch. But I think it's like harder for women to have to cope with that if that happens. And then I think part of that might result in you dyeing your hair a crazy color and like owning a spider. I've seen it a couple times.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's going through something, you know?
Okay.
So, but not me personally, I wouldn't want to own the snake. I wouldn't want to be hanging out with this just symbolically. Like, I'm a writer, so it just feels wrong. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's crazy because I had the same exact mental thoughts, series of thought. It was like, avoid it, kill it, avoid it.
Right? I was kind of like happy that it got away. I was you son of a bitch.
God darn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it just depends, right? Because I don't know why we use snakes as such a literary tool to represent, like, backstabbing. Mm-hmm. Or like venomousness, or like pure evil, more or less. Satan, more or less.
Definitely been personified and symbolized as evil,
right?
That kind of energy, the dark side, whatever.
I don't know conniving. What is it? Is that does that hold truth in like should I
in the animal kingdom?
Yeah, should I have bias against real life snakes?
I don't know. Are they snaky to other animals?
See, that's the question.
Where the fuck did we derive that from? Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I also wonder about like people
maybe because they killed us so much. I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's probably it. That's probably it. Because definitely in early like art and stuff like that, they're trying to keep like the babies away from like the ground because that's like where snakes would just like kill your baby pretty much.
Boop. Dead.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm. That probably happened a lot. Maybe that's why. Maybe it happened that much that like we have that big of a fucking stigma against snakes. Isn't that why we have as many green color receptors in our eyes?
I have heard that too.
Right? We can see the most shades of green because we were looking for snakes our whole evolution, more or less.
Yeah, had to see them or our family would die. It's like
and they
really looking in there.
We're probably in trees and shit too.
Yeah, and they're getting trees. You're saying
they can climb trees. Yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta be super careful.
Fuckers, dude. Sons of bitches.
Yeah. So do they present the same issue to me now? Like, should I still hate the snake? I don't know how they are with other animals in their biosphere. When people ask me like, "Do you like this animal?" or like, "What's your favorite animal?"
What's your spirit animal?
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know how these animals interact with their other.
The truth behind these animals, the characters.
I'm just like projecting things onto these animals. Like I don't know what they are. You know?
Like, he's a rat.
Right.
He's a snake.
Yeah. I mean, people hate rats for the same reason they hate snakes, but I think it's different. It's just because they were such a plague. Before
right? Yeah, there's another thing. There we go.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Or like another, maybe like we cast such a negative connotation onto the word rat because we actually have a actual thing that happened in history to where we had like every time we saw a rat, it was like a really negative association.
Yeah, like you could die for sure. Get sick. Everyone could get sick.
Everyone was dying because of that shit.
Yeah. And they were just everywhere, like in New York and shit. Like you couldn't get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Oh, so gross, bro, to think about. And yeah, natural repulsion, bro. What is that? It's so crazy,
in
bro.
Our being. Yeah. We have no control over that.
Yeah, no, that makes me sick.
Like we're grossed out by snakes because our ancestors were so grossed out for fucking God knows how long. Maybe not grossed out, but like repulsed and scared. And
yeah, you gotta almost wear that like stone tablet that we talked about, like touching a dead body. Mm-hmm. It's like you almost gotta wear that to deal with like a snake or like. Have you ever had to kill a snake?
I think I don't think so. I'm thinking back. I know that there was definitely killing snakes was something that was on our priority list or something we had to deal with working at the YMCA whenever I was like a freshman in college, back in my summer job, because we worked like on like a river in the YMCA, and there was like a river full of like fucking like inflatable toys and shit, and there was like a really big, like campus more or less for like kindergarten through 5th grade, and then like in the lake there was fucking snakes and shit sometimes, and we'd have to be like on the walkie-talkies. Like I forget what was the name, Charlie. I think it was Charlie. It was the name we used on the walkie-talkies. We're like, oh wait, I found Charlie. Okay, I got Charlie over here. So it's like, oh shit, it's a snake.
It's a Vietnam reference, real quick.
Yeah, so the kids don't freak out and hear the word snake and be like, snake, where?
Yeah, gotcha.
Get fucking bit and shit.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't remember if I had to kill one myself. I don't think I did. I don't think I ever have.
Definitely in the sphere of having to deal with them, though.
Yes. I remember, like, removing dead snakes and, like, taking them out of the fucking shit.
I think chopping the head off. I've never had to chop it off myself, but I imagine it requires a lot of, like...
A shovel? Yeah, I think it would require some of that. Of that stone tablet, bro. Some of that hard face.
Seriously. Just because it's so frightening when to look at it. And it's going to be slithering at you and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it, bro.
Just the mental imagination of a slithering snake gives you like something in your gut. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh,
that is weird, bro.
Right?
We're torturing our listeners right now. They've had to think about the grossest shit all episode.
Sorry, y'all.
No.
We're just riffing.
I'm not hating on us. I think it's been great. But yeah, so then the truer question is like, you know, everyone. My mom was so afraid of spiders, like freak the fuck out.
Spiders is another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Like, petrifyingly afraid. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's like a strong woman. She like can't handle it.
Did we ever have a historical moment where spiders fucked us up? I don't think so. Not the same way as snakes and rats.
Not on the record books.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know, yeah.
Maybe it's kind of creepy looking. And I guess, what are they? Technically, they're not
arachnids?
Insects. Yeah, there we go. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
A fucking weird hybrid creature.
They got like 8 legs. They'd be like...
Yeah.
That is weird.
Interesting.
If they were huge, they'd be so scary, bro.
Oh, God.
I saw a big one. No lie, I lived in a house
spiders.
where there was like... we saw 5 or 6 big ones and a 2 or 3... It's hard for me to talk about it, bro.
Talk about it.
Just saw me choke up.
He's done.
We saw 5 or 6 of those spiders in a 2 or 3 week span. And it was like... I was instantly like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm not cut out to deal with this shit.
I'm not ready.
They were like...
Where was this?
The size of a pie. If you just imagine...
What?
Yeah.
Like a 12-inch diameter pie.
Yeah, dude.
No.
Yeah, dude. No
Get
kids,
the fuck out of here.
Not far from here, bro.
Bro.
Bro, if you want to hear some shit, bro, just some brief shit. I'll keep it brief.
Small shit.
But if you are a fan of the pod, if you've been listening to the pod, and we talked about the stone tablet story of when I had to deal with that dead puppy, bro.
Yes.
Okay, so I buried that dead puppy. We buried that dead puppy out back, right? And out back was literally like more or less in the yard, right?
Okay.
And then like I thought I put it pretty deep down.
This is in Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
And like covered it up. You know, a month goes by, and we've got these giant ass spiders, kind of in the same area as this dead puppy, for real.
Giant spiders.
Yes, and I was just like, my brain couldn't help but like correlate the two. I was like, even if they're not here to eat the puppy, I feel like I just did evil by killing that puppy on accident, and these spiders are here as like a fucking dark nightmare to haunt me. Like,
golly.
So like I was going out to go on a run, but we would run at like 10 p.m. or some shit like that, like late, like it's nighttime. Mm-hmm. And I just like take a couple steps off the back porch and then take a right step down and then just imagine an apple pie next to your foot. But the apple pie is a big black spider.
Oh my God.
I was just like the walls of like my brain like wanted to scream, but I was being a man. I was a man in that moment, but it was like,
hold your tongue, bitch.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. And I just looked down and like there was like a cinder block, and I just like picked up the cinder block and just like dropped it on that motherfucker, and it was like splat. And I was like, whoa, what in the fuck is that? And it was just like, I remember just thinking, like, that's something I just can't deal with. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to deal with an infestation of these dog puppy-like spiders?
How many? You saw multiple? 5 or 6?
I saw probably, I saw, like, in the whole span of that time, I saw, like, 5 or 6, but then, like, they went away. And I was like, that's crazy.
How many spiders even get that big?
I don't know, bro. I didn't want to do any research. I didn't want to fucking find out about it. That shit was crazy, bro.
I don't want to know.
Honestly, at that time, I was like, had other problems that were so big I didn't want to deal with them, and I was like, these spiders represent these problems over here, and then I dealt with those problems and the spiders like went away. Yeah, for real.
That's weird.
That's crazy, right?
Strange.
Take y'all into
Strange
a stranger place for a second.
Mm. Yeah, speaking of stranger place, I had another crossover the other night. It was like 2 nights ago. We came home, started making dinner, and we were making rice. And Victoria's like, yeah, I saw this thing online because we would make rice. Like, she would boil the water and then put the rice in. But now she's like, no, I think I'm gonna like put the rice in with the water. And then whenever it's in there, like, you fill it up, you put your index finger into like the bottom of the sheesh, and then fill up the liquid to where your first knuckle is to cover the rice. And then whenever you do that, it's like supposed to give you like rice. It was like a hack she found. And then we tried it, and it was fucking bomb. It was like, oh yeah, this rice is perfect. Wow. And then the next day, we're watching a cooking show that we didn't even like. We watched the first episode of that cooking show and didn't even like really like it. And then we stopped watching it for a while. And then we like just decided to give it another shot. I was like, we saw another advertisement for it, and we're like, it's a Secret Chef on Hulu. And we saw another advertisement for it, and we're like, why didn't we like that show? It's like, watching the advertisement, it looks like a home run. It looks like something we would both love. Like, what the fuck? So we just like decided to pick it up from episode 2 and just like started watching it again. And then we're almost done with it now. It's like, okay, cool. Like, it did catch us again. I guess there was something wrong with like the timing of watching the first episode and whatever. We were just like not paying attention, or whatever, not really invested. Yeah, it didn't grab us, and then we just kind of put it to the side. But then now we're like watching it. And then the night after the rice, we made the rice, like there was like a guest judge or a guest chef on the show. And he's like, quick little hack when you're making rice, like put your finger in the thing and boom, fill it up to the sheesh, and they'll give you fluffy rice. And we're just like, do 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 do.
Whoa. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. I was like, man, my life's fucking wild. Fucking wild out here.
Timing's been such a motif in the past. Because patience been a motif. And that timing is like almost on brand with patience, you know what I'm saying?
They're like one and the same.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's how I guess what is patience? It's like, in relative to time, patience is talking about how you're, I guess, feeling in regard to the present time,
or like how you should behave in regards to the presence.
Yeah, how are you going to act in this time, in this present time, even though the situation is this or whatever.
And then time, but the thing about timing that's so crazy is like, it's like there's like 35 things in the way right here, but then it's like they all lined up, and that's just like timing.
Yeah.
So like timing helps me conceptualize why patience is important, because it's like not even there. Like it's not even there. And then like you get like you just chill, or you would be patient hopefully and not like obscure your shot to like your goal. And then like all of a sudden like timing, like it's crazy. Like that show wasn't, for whatever reason, it didn't appeal to you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then like you do the thing, and then you watch the show, and then for whatever reason it is appealing to you. Like, you don't even really know why. Yep. and then it happens to coincide with your life in a way that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been. Like, it would have been less meaningful almost to a degree.
That same scene would have still played out at whatever time we would have watched it, had we watched it initially, or if we waited to watch it, or if we never watched it. But, like, yeah, that scene just so happened to line up with that particular scene in my real life. Or, like, you know what I'm saying, coinciding timing-wise right after each other and serendipitously. Crazy timing. It's like, yeah, why weren't we in, I don't know, it's wild, right? It's fucking wild.
Life's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, that was a weird crossover. And then I was like, I thought about that when it happened. I was like, wow, that's a weird crossover. And then the added thought that my higher self was like, and it's an extra weird crossover. It was like a little caveat, like subtext of the script. You know what I'm saying? It's like bonus features. Like my life comes with a fucking commentary, like the director's cut shit. And it's like, this is extra crazy because remember, you didn't even want to watch this show the first time. I was like, oh my God, I didn't want to watch this show the first time. That is even crazier.
Yo, that's tight. See, that's cool. Life is cool like that. Mm-hmm. Watching TV, life is cool. Mm-hmm. Like I felt it last night watching that quarterback show, and I was just like, it's so nice to have life be cool, and I'm just sitting here, like. So a lot of times I gotta go do a billion fucking things to make sure that life is like playing out the way. Yeah, humming. And then it was crazy, just like sitting there, and like, yeah, you just catch something in stride, like that, like the right kind of show, kind of like just the right moment catches you, and it lights up something in your spirit. Like it's bigger than just like I'm watching TV. It's like I had a realization about how crazy timing is. Like, yeah, that's bigger than just like watching a program. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes just like just watching something on TV coincided with like what you're thinking at the time, coincided with what you're going through at the time, and then it's just all like a moment that's kind of bigger than itself, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah, it's cracked.
Yeah, I think in those moments, like that thing, like that metaphor that we're using right there, it's like, yeah, whenever it all lines up, it's like in that moment, all the things line up, so there's like a little pocket, and you could like see the light, or like God, or whatever, like shines through in that moment. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Back to normal life where everything's moving so fast.
Yeah, exactly. It is like that. It is crazy. I don't know if we just see that. I think everybody sees that. Everybody has moments where life.
I think it's available for everyone to see if you attune your senses for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone sees it too. Like people just don't
give it value.
Yeah, freak out about it.
Give it meaning.
There's a lot of other things that have to happen if you give it meaning. You have to like give meaning to whatever the meaning was. It's like, yeah, that was really crazy when I saw that thing before that thing happened. It's like, what did that make you realize? Why was it crazy? Then you have to conceptualize like why it was crazy and then digest that. But then people, I think a lot of times just don't want to go towards the call of life. It's like there's like two modes. It's like going towards your calling or running away from your calling. And a lot of people are like running away from the calling because, you know, they got hurt or like, you know, life's hard. Like there's a lot of good reasons, I guess, to run from your calling. Or like there's a lot of understandable reasons.
There we go.
Maybe not a lot of good reasons. There's a lot of reasons I could empathize with.
There we go.
But I wouldn't call them good reasons.
Yeah.
And then I just like see, and then so when life naturally calls you forward through all these like moments in your life, sometimes you just like don't want to give them meaning and you don't want to acknowledge them because you're kind of like running from your life having meaning. Mm-hmm. And like that should make me sad. Don't do that. You know?
You don't break my damn heart.
Yeah,
man.
come on.
Please.
Please, dog.
Please don't.
Pursue meaning.
Yeah. I think it's worth it because the alternative is to not.
Chaotic as fuck.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nose by saying that you're either running towards or running from, like your calling, and your life's adventure.
Yeah.
I think it's right on the money.
Yeah, because I don't think like life naturally invites you into that thing. Like if you just go participate in life, it's gonna invite you into that thing. But like if you like participate in life, but you're not trying to accept the invitation, like it's all you're doing is running from it. That's like the only two modes. Like there's not really a sideways you can go.
No, there's no middle ground.
No. Like whatever you would be interested enough to go do would be your calling. Like
yes,
if you were to follow that natural intuition and that natural pull of gravity, it would be towards what like life has for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So then it's like, what are you gonna do? Do something like random just to like you wouldn't. I don't know how to explain it.
And I think that's a crazy thing about what like God can do is like even if you spend so long running away from your calling, it could be an instant that you're just like turned around and now you're going that way. Yeah, and it's like completely different.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, it could happen just so fast.
Some people, I think that's what rock bottom is it's like you have like a clarity moment where you're like, nope, need to go this way now. But it's just like when it happens at rock bottom, it's like a fuck ton of bad things happen to you that make you have that clarity moment. I think you just like have that. You could like channel that clarity moment in like your normal life, hopefully, and not have to have terrible things happen to have it.
Yeah,
I think that's like a true thing. Like you're talking about, like people just get turned around. Like, you know, I was running from this my whole life. Now I'm doing this. It's crazy.
Yeah, it happened in an instant, man. In an instant.
Because people, you know, everybody knows.
You know,
in your heart, you know.
Yeah,
that's tight.
Don't break our hearts.
Don't break our hearts. I forgot we had a podcast. I was just talking to you. Yeah. I'm like, I don't really know. The crazy thing is, I don't really want to give y'all advice. I just want to give you my experience. But don't break my heart, goddammit.
We ain't trying to tell you how to do what from what. But please don't break my heart.
Don't do it.
That bitch shaky breaky, bro. Billy Ray.
Post vacation, my heart's feeling very full.
Nice. Yeah, dog.
How's your heart feeling post vacation?
Oh man, I feel so rejuvenated. It felt great. It was so nice to have that time off. And then whenever we came back, it was nice to come back. That's one of the I love that feeling of coming back from vacation. I love that.
Yeah.
Whenever I come back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nice. It is nice to be back into the fucking helm of my ship that is like cruising through this life waters. It's like, yes, good to be back in the fucking captain's chair. Handling the sheesh.
Ideally, that's a successful vacation, right? Like you get to the point where you kind of need out for a little bit and then you're ready to go back into it.
Yeah. And yeah, you use that time to legitimately get like rejuvenated and like legitimately recover and rest and vacate from your normal day-to-day duties and shit. And whenever you come back, you're ideally more able to handle those day-to-day duties in a more refreshed energy, you know?
Yeah, that's what we'd like to see. That makes a really nice like justification for vacation.
Yeah.
I need it. I'm going to come back way better.
Yeah, I think that is true though. I think it's true. I think there's truth in that for sure. Because yeah, we had it was great. So we did the 4th Six Flags. That Wednesday we went to Chalk Bluff, a little river action, drinking in the sun, great time in the water. And then Thursday we went to Joey Rogue's place.
Oh,
Comedy Mothership.
Let's go, Austin, Texas.
The Mothership, yes, man, Austin, Texas.
How was it?
Good little hour and 20-minute drive. Amazing.
Really?
Amazing.
What? How big is it?
Great. How the whole building?
Yeah.
I guess it has like the big man or the fat man, the little boy or whatever the fuck. There's like those 2 rooms, and I think there's like another room as well. It's not that big. Each room is probably like maybe like 2 of these kitchens or so.
Okay.
Or like that was like the fat man, like the bigger of the 2 spots. But it wasn't that big. It was nice. It was super intimate. That's what I was like saying to Victoria, like going into it, because it was general admission. So it was like as you kind of got sat and seated as you came in. We got there pretty early. We got there like probably 30 minutes before the show started. Like the show started at 7, and we got there around 6:20, 6:30.
Okay.
And then we got filed in, and but while we were getting filed in, I was talking to Victoria in regards to where we were going to be sat, and I was saying I don't think there's going to really be a bad spot to sit. You know, I think it's going to be. I think he worked on. I remember hearing Joe talk about it on his podcast. He's like he like lowered the ceilings and like made it more intimate and made it like. It's crazy that Joe was able to take all of his accumulated knowledge from all the clubs he's ever performed at, and then take some of his colleagues who have also done the same thing, take all their input, and then make this club out of it, and made it like perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, even that room that we were in, like the bigger of the 2 venues, like that was like small and intimate enough to be. It was not a bad seat in the house. So it was pretty fucking tight.
That is tight.
Yeah, it was good. It was really cool. Everyone you have to like check in your phone whenever you get there. They give you like a little pouch, or you give them your phone and your iWatch or whatever your smartwatch is, and then they put it in a little pouch and then they give it to you. And then at the end of it, you have to like fucking give it to the guy, and they have to like click it off to like open it. So everyone's kind of just chilling, talking, drinking, 2 drink minimum. So you have to get some sort of drinks. You can buy water as well.
Don't buy water.
But yeah.
I mean, buy water if you want water, but
yeah,
sounds nice, bro. A couple cocktails.
Tight. Yeah, a couple drinks.
A couple superstars.
A couple comedians popping through. I saw just the other day. I think it was, Thursday? I think it was today, Sunday. So 3 or 4 days ago, they had Dave Chappelle pop through on a surprise set at the end of the night. It's like, fuck, man. That's badass.
That's fucking tight.
So tight, dude. Yeah, it was cool being... I like, as we were driving up there, I was like, I'm getting like butterflies. Like you say, we're about to... I don't know, I felt the magnitude of being in like the most lit, active, poppin' comedy club, square footage, geographically, in the world.
Yeah.
In the world right now.
So tight. So tight.
I was able to like grasp that and like soak that in. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
This is tight.
This is cool. It was cool for that reason. And also like the comedians were funny as well, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Great show. It was tight.
Just to appreciate something that, like, you don't really get that. It's like watching Michael Jordan play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's only so many times where you're like, there's some greatness going on here. Like, this greatness is like, has its own vibration, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's alive.
Is it? Tell me.
It's alive. It's popping. You're just like, you're sitting there waiting for the comedians. You're like, yeah.
It's fucking tight, bro.
Yeah, it was dope. It was super dope. And yeah, Ron White was the headliner. He fucking crushed. He was so funny. He was hilarious. I've only heard like some of his old shit back when he was touring with like Jeff Foxworthy, and
right?
Larry the Cable Guy and kind of shit. Tater Salad.
Right, of course. But he did other stuff that was really good.
Yeah, he did. I never heard any of these jokes, but yeah, it was really funny. It was tight.
Dude, that's tight.
He's hilarious. Yeah, and it's funny because I'm hearing Joe also on the podcast talk about, I guess, referencing Ron White, because for those of you who don't know, Ron White is a comedian probably in his late 60s or so, mid to late 60s, but he's just really fucking funny, and he's been doing the comedy thing for a long time, and he like went into retirement, and then Joe Rogan more or less like brought him out of retirement, and he like lives in Texas, and Joe's like, nah, I'm opening a club, and like you don't have to tour, you don't even gotta do shit, but like just come to my club, and you could like have your own headlining nights and shit, whatever. And yeah, and now he's still out there killing it, doing his thing, hilarious.
Just crushing.
And yeah, Joe was talking about, I guess in reference to Ron White, why he wanted to bring him out of retirement in his mind was because he was still so good. And whenever he would see him perform and like even just like talking to people, he has a certain like a command of like because I was able, there were 3 openers and then there was Ron White's a headline. And the difference between watching those 3 openers and then watching Ron White, because I haven't seen any of them. I didn't know any of the material for any of the artists. So I was just kind of blind to everything. And then, but just like even objectively watching all 4 of them and Ron White, I was like, okay, he's the headliner, but I could feel why he was the headliner. I was like, okay, he has such command of the room. He has everyone's attention. Just like, so, I don't know why. He just like commanded it, but not like obviously not like in a rude way, but he just like has it. He was just I guess he's just so in control of his articulation of his material. That's probably what it comes from. You just like his confidence in his material and his knowledge of it and like his, I guess, familiarity with it because it's just his life. You know what I'm saying? He's not like trying to do anything particularly. He's just like talking about his life and like his stories and his perspectives. And he's just so in command and control of it. It's tight. It was really, really cool to watch. Like a craftsman murder.
Yeah.
Just murder, dog.
Yeah, you're watching like very high level speech go off.
Yeah,
like this man's crushing.
And no disrespect to any of the other artists who are the comics who went before him. Like all three of them were fine. Like they were funny. They made everyone laugh, everyone chuckle, and it was like solid. They did their 15, 20 minutes or whatever, crushed. But Ron White just held a different kind of attention. He held a different kind of energy whenever he was talking. It was palpable. I could feel it. I was like, okay, this is what Joe Rogan's talking about. This is why he didn't want you to retire. I could see it.
That's crazy, dude. That's so tight.
Yeah, it was cool. It was funny. He had some really funny shit.
Anytime you see someone who's really good at what they do, that's really cool to watch. But then also just to see someone like just articulate really well, or to have that like an esoteric ability. Like you see like a star walk through, or like someone get on the mic and they're just like encapsulating. It's like, fuck, dude. It's like a lot to take in, you know?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's tight.
I think Dave Chappelle has that same kind of thing. Like he just commands it whenever he has the microphone and the attention. He just can fucking. You just want to hear him talk. You just want to let him go. You just like sit back and like you give him full permission with your attention.
Right. I felt that as a performer. That is what it is. Like, a lot of times I'm not trying to convince them, but there's like a moment where it's like, if I do it right, they sit back. And then I know that it's like, they're appreciating. They're like, okay, go on. Yeah. It's
like, I guess convince is the right word. Like you convince them that like you're worthy, or like allocating your attention to me is going to be a worthwhile investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to be entertained, informed, or whatever. Yeah. It's going to be worth watching me.
Because as soon as they agree in their mind that it is worth it, then they can like then the moment kind of yields to it. Yeah. And then there's a sway like, okay, now I have open field and now I'm running. You know what I'm saying? And then now once they kind of give me the opportunity to continue presenting and I'm getting into my presentation and I've like gotten over the initial anxiety of them being like receptive to the presentation, once I pick up momentum going down that path, and then there's like a validation of like, okay, I was right to have giving you my attention, you are going off, then it's like I know what that rhythm and that train feels like, so it would be cool to go watch someone do it at like a really high level, because we try to do that in music too. It's the same thing where we're gonna try to get you to sit back, you know.
Sit back and watch. Just listen. Sit back and listen.
Like let go of the critique in your heart. Like that's another part of it. Like suspend disbelief in a movie. Like you stop thinking about the fact that superheroes don't exist.
And there's music in the background and shit.
Like yeah, exactly. You're just like in there with them, you know?
Yeah, in the story, allowing the story to be.
And as a presenter, a lot of your job is to like, I gotta be good enough for what I do that you guys let that happen, and it's like nature. Like I don't force it, you don't force it. Like it's a natural moment, and it's crazy to hear. Yeah, someone just being able to do that like so naturally. Natural moment so naturally, it's like nuts. I'm like, I gotta go see this guy.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, it was tight, and it's so cool because it's right up the road. We're down in San Antonio, about like an hour and a half ish drive. There's parking. It was like only like $12 maybe to park.
Not bad.
Yeah, so a little parking place by some food trucks, like a block and a half over. Just drove there, parked, boop, walked over, scanned our tickets, went inside, sat down, got some drinks.
So tight.
Yeah, it was just like boom. It's like, this is so cool. This is tight as fuck.
I think when people really appreciate their city, it's moments like that make you really appreciate, like, being in Austin.
Yeah, I was like, man, I love Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is lit.
Yeah. I think if you were an Austinite, you'd have been like, Austin is the shit. We are the shit right now. But then there's moments like that in San Antonio, too. Like, if you were upscale when Wembenyama walked in.
Yeah.
And upscale's a whole thing. It's a restaurant that's like on the Riverwalk in like an almost gentrified area, but it's not super nice. But you walk inside and it's this like kind of tiny restaurant, but it's incredible. Like incredible. Like craft cocktails as good as 5-star restaurants, and the food was just like with a 5-star chef.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, but then you're in there in this place, and you probably are, like if you're eating like, you know, Wagyu Carpaccio, and you're just like, fuck, this is crazy. And then Wembenyama walks in, you gotta be like, San Antonio's nuts, bro. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, Wembenyama walks in with fucking Popovich.
Dude. Yeah. Those are those moments that like make you love where you live, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I did have like that appreciation of like Texas more or less as we're like coming back from I guess because we went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I guess Friday we were chilling, and I think Saturday and Sunday we did stuff in San Antonio. But after coming back from Austin on Thursday and hanging out Friday at home, I was like, man, Texas is tight, because it was like San Antonio. We went to like one of the best water park, or not water park, but one of the best like amusement parks like in the country.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday we went to like this beautiful like river, like lake entry place. in Uvalde, and then we went to Austin. I was like, Texas is lit. Great little Texas vacay. What the fuck else do you want, man?
You can't ask for much more.
So dope. Yeah. Yeah, I felt like we were in Vegas in that sense of like just like going out and doing shit. I was like, we're all doing this in Texas. This is dope. This is tight.
That is tight.
Yeah.
That's one thing dude, yeah, location is such a crazy thing, bro, because, like, you could go on vacation to, like, fly to somewhere else to try to feel a certain way.
Yes.
Be around things that invoke those emotions, but at the cost of money and time and energy. But, like, those things are also here. Like, you could have them here. Maybe there is a blockade sometimes that stops you from feeling those things, like, literally in your own home. But, like you said, like, Texas is huge. You got Austin, all these lakes everywhere. I mean, there's, like, the Comal, Canyon Lake, Marble Falls, and then Uvalde. Those are all like within 2 hours of each other.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, like Lake Austin and shit. Tons of body of water. Like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. There's so much to do.
You gotta, it's so crazy, bro. People just trying to get to water. And I'm like, once you get to the water, you gotta do something in the water that makes you feel the thing that you want to feel.
Yeah, for real.
That's a whole thing, bro.
You get there, you're like, oh, finally we're here. All right, am I relaxed yet?
It's like, no, you gotta...
Where's the vacation?
For real, though, there's like application process. You gotta do stuff. That's why I think people like floating the river, because it's easy. So I'm drive here, I'm gonna pay this money, I'm gonna get my tube, I'm gonna sit down, vacation.
And now I'm doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people that camp is cool. Camping's cool.
Camping can be cool. I haven't been in a minute. I think if you do it right, I don't know. I guess it depends on your level of comfort in the wilderness.
I'm with Justin on this one. Camping's not cool, dog. I'm not trying to do all that. Like,
it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
Unless I'm literally practicing for Armageddon. Like, if that's where my head's at.
Some survival training.
Yeah, I could get down with like survival training. Okay. But just like roller coasters, man. Like, I don't want to choose to be in danger, and I don't want to choose to have to like shit outside. Like, I'd rather just be around AC and stuff.
Yeah, for real. I get it, man. I guess what's the allure with camping? Some people just love being in the outdoors.
I guess.
Right? That's part of it.
I think it's a lie. I think it's cap.
It's all bullshit.
Like, outdoors what is it about the outdoors that feels so good?
I guess maybe their version when they say the outdoors, like not just like going outside your house, but being away from civilized society.
That's what outdoors is? It's like...
Right. Part of getting away from the city. So that's seeing the stars.
Okay. So that's like isolation.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. I felt that. I went on a long walk where I was like kind of lost and in some trees, and I was just looking up at the stars, and I was like, I'm like alone right now. This feels weird. And I was kind of like, is this what people mean when they want to like get like out in nature?
Get away.
Yeah.
This is where away is. I found a way.
I was in a way. And I was like, I understand the allure of a way. Because like, I could just think whatever I wanted, and like the stars were, it was just like, it was like being alone, but being outside. Or like how you'd be alone in your house and no one could perceive you. But like just being in public outside, but having that same level of aloneness, not trapped in walls. Yeah, privacy is a good word. Uh-huh. And like it did feel kind of like freeing, I guess, in like a sense. But like eventually, I needed to like get back. I was kind of like lost, and I was like, I need to get back.
I was getting worried. It was getting dark.
But I remember thinking like the stars were so beautiful, and like the emotion that I could feel when I was looking up at the stars, and I was like had privacy to be like just out in public alone. I was like feeling crazy, feeling really like empowered in that moment.
It's psychedelic shit.
Yeah, just like it looked like the stars were a dome. I could swear that I could see like the top of the dome. Like this star is like the dome, and everything kind of like falls downward from that place. And it was this weird perspective on the sky that like I could just hold that visual for a second.
The world is flat kind of shit.
Kind of, yeah. It just looked like it was like, I don't know. And then I was like, am I crazy? I might be crazy. I don't know. And I was like, maybe these are the thoughts. Maybe like because I'm like alone out here, I'm like in nature. There's like a different thing going on. It's like allowing me to see the sky differently, or like I let go of something that I normally hold on to. I don't know.
Yeah, and we don't do that very often. As far as like humans, like in normal big cities, don't be looking up at the stars too much.
And there's a lot of light pollution and shit, so you can't really see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was out far enough where there wasn't a lot of light pollution, so they were like bright. I was kind of tripping. So I get that, but I wouldn't want to stay outside. Wouldn't want to
sleep outside.
Come on.
That's what I was kind of getting to with your level of comfort. It's like I could bring an RV. You can camp in an RV.
I guess.
You can glamp and shit.
Here's another problem with camping is what do you do? What do you do with your 24 hours? You're in an RV. You're parked somewhere. What do you do with your 24?
Take the dog on a walk.
Okay.
You you set up some like fucking tuna cans in the ground and play washers.
Okay.
Or bring some cornhole, play some horseshoes.
Okay.
You bring those kind of games out there. You're probably just getting the fire started, trying to get that going, keep that running for as long as you can. And fucking sitting around the fire, playing cards, telling stories.
There's not a lot to do in those moments.
No, you gotta play some cards or some games or some fucking Yahtzee at least or some shit. We've gone camping before. We brought some Yahtzee. We've brought some games like that.
It's the same thing on every vacation. You got to go somewhere and then you got time to kill when you're
Bring
there.
a puzzle. Murder some puzzle shit.
So we're going to drive 3 hours so we can do a puzzle that I would never normally do.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so weird. Like, I was thinking about all this while I was on vacation because it was like in my face. We were doing the same issues were like presented.
Driving around looking for vacation.
And I was like, I think vacation lies in like 4 shots and then me just being in the hot tub for like an hour. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of like,
yeah.
That's where I found vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was crazy that like, yeah, vacation to some people would be like, or to me, if I wasn't careful, would be driving 3 hours to do a puzzle that I would never normally do just because I needed to do something while I was away from everything. Mm-hmm. Like Vegas is cool because they give you games to play.
Plenty of games to play.
So many games to play.
It's pay to play. But there's plenty of games.
Yeah. But like, and shows to go to.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of like plan a vacation.
And even just like beautiful shit to see. You just like walk around casino to casino. Like walking around the Venetian. That's my favorite casino to walk around. It's like that whole hotel casino, and they have some like exhibits in the fucking casino. There's like an actual art exhibit of like photography in the casino or in the Venetian. Uh-huh. Just like walking around. It just costs $0.
That's nice.
Like you could walk around for hours.
Yeah. It's like museums.
Yeah, exactly.
That's tight.
Mm-hmm.
That's tight. It made me just realize as an adult, like to plan a vacation, whatever vacation means to me in my subconscious, I'd have to like figure what that is, and then I'd have to like plan it properly if I wanted to meet that expectation. Otherwise, I'd always be like, what the fuck am I doing?
Because I think what you're talking about, I think we're hitting on the idea of if someone's given time off or like told they have vacation time, quote unquote, it's like time away from their obligations, they feel almost like an obligation to spend that time doing something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to use this shit. You know what I'm saying? So they look for that vacation somewhere, or spend all this money or drive all this mileage to go feel that vacation getaway. So you can do that whenever, wherever. But also, yeah, to plan it properly would help validate that feeling of like time well spent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because just because I can acknowledge that like you could spend a lot of money going somewhere far to find vacation, which is a state of mind that you could have in your backyard. Mm-hmm. The problem is that I don't want a vacation in my backyard either. And I don't want to camp. I don't really want an RV. It's like, what do I want? Like I'd have to like identify what that is and then like plan that out. Otherwise, vacation would never feel like vacation for me. And that was like, then I was like, people do that with a lot of stuff. It's like, whatever you think your relationship with, for me, like, what do I want my relationships with my dad to be like? I have to like identify and then like come to grips with like with other people. The problem is that they have like a perception of what their relationship should be with you. So you have to like find compromise in those things. But with ideas, it's easier because like vacation, you could just like self-identify what you want for vacation and then do it. And I was just like, man, expectation's a crazy thing. It'll fuck you up. Fuck me up.
Yeah. Seriously. The expectation of, just trying to look for something. But I guess I think kind of what we were talking about earlier, like the idea of why you mentioned you can't really, I guess for some people, you can't really vacation, like a staycation, but like it's whenever you do leave your environment, there is something that happens.
Yeah.
That vacation mode, I think, is a little bit more easily accessible because you're in new.
Yeah.
You're outside of your normal shit. So you really are like in a different, like mental space.
Yeah.
And physical space.
It's nice if you're in a tourist place or a resort too, because everyone's kind of like propelling that disillusionment, like
the island time.
Yeah,
the idea of island time is a real thing.
Yes, and then if you go to a place that propels that island time, that's cool because you're gonna live in an ecosystem that's like keeping you out of that normal thought. Like I am in a different place.
Yeah,
and that shit's tight. Get perspective because perspective's hard to get. So I think that's why resorts are tight. If you can pay to go to a resort, that's fucking awesome.
That would be badass.
We'll get there.
Little sandals all inclusive,
dude. That'd be fucking cracked.
I'm trying to go on a cruise. That'd be tight.
Yeah, a cruise would be tight.
I want to go on one of those. I think that's a cool vacation. Use of vacation time. Agreed. I think so for sure. Man, love vacations. It was a good one. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention though also about fucking our vacation with in reference to the Six Flags trip that we had. As I mentioned, there's probably close to like 5,000, 4,000 people at the fucking fireworks show.
Right.
And it ended at the same time. And we're all leaving at the same time.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long they've been doing this.
Since I was a kid.
I'm sure they can look it up. But let's assume Six Flags has been doing this for like 20 plus years.
Easily.
At this previous 4th of July, you would not assume that. You would assume this is the first time they've ever fucking done this shit. With the way that we were trying to leave after the show was over.
Okay.
It was torturously long and slow to get out of that parking lot, bro.
How long had you been there?
Torturously. We got to the park around like 11:45.
Okay.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Right before noon.
And what time is this when you're like, open the car door to get ready to like, we made it, let's go home?
To leave, I remember we got in the car. I turned it on. It was like 9:47. It was the time I saw the clock. So we'd have been at the park for fucking 10 hours, bro. 10 hours of fun in the sun.
That's a long day.
At the water park. Mini a roller coaster. We went back to the cars and had our lunch and like went back. It was a lot. Long day.
Yeah.
10 hours. 9:47 we got into the car. And we didn't move. We didn't move until like 10:45. We just sat in the same exact spot for an hour. Literally an hour. Just sitting in the car. Just like kind of looking around every minute or two to see if anything was happening. No. Cars as far as the eye could see. It was a massacre. So we ended up finally like...
That'll test your patience.
That's some patience test. Any traffic we go through now, I'm like, nah, man, this ain't shit, dog. Like I'm literally not moving for an hour. That was crazy. Yeah. I don't think I've ever experienced. That had to be number one like traffic experience I'd ever gone through. It was pretty terrible. It took us like a full hour to even start moving. And when we started moving, what I mean by that is like we were able to back out of our spot and like, because everyone's going to my right. Like we were facing the park, and to leave, we have to go backwards to the right. So then like everyone's trying to get out that way towards my right. So then we back out, and then I see cars to the left like making progress, like actually moving. And I'm like, I want to go towards the flow of motion. I'm going to go to the left. We back out and we go to the left and like kind of loop around that way towards the exit, and then find Victoria's sister and her fiance. They'd come with us, and like we were sitting next to each other for that hour that we were not moving at all. Okay. And then eventually I look over at some point within that hour, probably 30 or 45 minutes, and they're gone. I'm like, okay, they're gone. They may have probably didn't go very far, but they're somewhere. And then whenever we finally make our move, we see them in line, and he's like, okay, like, get in front of us. It's like, okay, cool, thank God. So then like that took 30 minutes to like find them, get in his line, wait in front of him, and then finally like start to move out of there. An hour and a half to get out of the Six Flags parking lot.
Dude, I'm starting to feel stressed out.
Right?
Fuck that, bro.
People are honking. People are yelling. In my mind, I'm like, shit, bro, we're in Texas, dog. We gotta be careful. How many scraps are out here?
Oh, 15% of those cars.
At least a good 15%. Probably a good, like, close to 1,000 guns out in that Six Flags parking lot with all that traffic. It was crazy, man. I'd never experienced traffic like that before. It was a sight to see. That's
some adult shit. That's in Yeho happening to you.
That was crazy.
Some kid tries to talk to you about traffic now. Like, bitch.
Son. That's the traffic jam of 2023, July 4th.
You'd have thought it was 1973, kid.
Fucking San Antonio Six Flags. Yeah, I'm sure that the San Antonio Six Flags office or whoever receives their customer support or their complaints handles their PR. I'm sure they got a lot of some messages, a lot of angry emails.
Dude, they probably know. They probably take a vacation.
We were there for so long, bro. Yeah, so we were there for like a whole 12 hours at Six Flags. Such a day. We vacated. Now some vacay.
That'll make you want to come back to life.
Yeah, that was some shit, man. Oh, yeah. So that was a little side note, a little side traffic on our vacay. It was historic in my life. That was a PR for traffic. Like, it was crazy, y'all. It was crazy. I'm not sure. That reminded me, like, while we were sitting in that traffic, that really reminded me of a scene from a show that we'd watched, the Goldbergs. It's a show on Hulu, and it's like the show about this kid and when he was growing up in the 80s, and like his two older siblings and his parents, and kind of like how he like more or less documented their life. Really funny show. But like one of the premises in one of the episodes is that his dad and his older brother, they always go to I think it was Philadelphia. They go to the Flyers hockey games.
Yeah.
and they would like leave at like towards the end of the third quarter, or I guess the third period. I think it's hockey's 3 periods, right? I don't think they do quarters.
I think you're right.
I want to say hockey's 3 periods.
Okay.
So towards the end of the third period, whenever the game is ending, like with like 5 minutes left, like they would leave, and then his older brother, he'd be like, "Dad, what the hell?" He's like, "I'm not sitting in that traffic. We're leaving." He's like, "We're gonna miss the end of the game." He's like, "Give a fuck. We're leaving." And then they do that with one particular game, and like the game they leave, it was like a crazy, unheard of, like historic win that they missed because they left early because they didn't want to sit in the traffic. But I empathized with the father in that moment. I was like, "Oh, I get it. I don't want to do this ever, dog. At what cost was that fireworks show? At what cost? Next year we don't have to sit through this shit. Next year we're gonna watch it from afar, dog. We'll watch it somewhere else."
You drive out to the main road.
Not worth it.
You just park on the main road.
Just park on the side of the highway for 15 minutes.
That's funny, bro.
Not worth it, man. It was funny to watch myself sit through all that. Be like, I'm so dadding right now. I'm dadding my ass off.
Oh man, that part of your spirit is coming to life.
Yeah, it was funny. It was fun. Good day, great day overall. Great vacation, amazing time.
Crazy,
but a funny little anecdote about just like goddamn traffic.
If you've ever been stuck with traffic, we can empathize with that right now. Man. Justin can definitely empathize.
You're all good. You'll get out eventually. You'll get out eventually. Eventually, you'll move. I promise.
That ties into the patience motif so well.
For real, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, look back at the clock. It's been 15 minutes and we have not moved. Okay, I'm gonna zone out. Zone out for 10 minutes. Look back at the clock. Nope, still haven't moved. Okay, 10 minutes. An hour passes by. It's like, nope, still haven't moved.
Oh, what's harder? 20 minutes in the sauna or an hour in that car?
Oh, I think 20 minutes in the sauna. Yeah. I thought about that while I was in the car. I was like, at least it's not 120 degrees in this fucking car. God damn. The only way it'd be worse.
Oh, man.
Thank God the AC works.
Yeah, seriously. That's butt.
Yeah, it was an experience for sure. It was a life event, a life story I'll have for a while.
Well, much like with vacation, I feel like you have to sit in a lot of traffic before you can go on vacation too. A whole lot of working.
Yeah.
Working.
Chugging along, baby. Getting the miles in. Stacking the paper. Paying the man. Stacking it again.
Till evolution happens.
To get to the next plane. The next field. Man.
That's my science. I'll let you know how it goes.
For what? Science for what?
That's my science. So I'll let you. I think that's the right thing to do. So I'll let you know how it goes.
To do what?
Yeah, just keep going on. Just keep. You know.
Sitting through the traffic.
Waiting for that next plane of evolution to happen to you.
Yes, bro. Hopefully, man. I think we're all evolving. I think we all have the ability to evolve. That's the thing, because time's always going. So in conjunction with time is like our ability to evolve. Like our potential runs parallel with that.
I like that.
Yeah, and as you were saying, it's like you're either going towards, and I think evolving, like when I say evolve, I think we referenced that earlier, talking about going towards your life adventure and your life story, whatever you're calling for.
Yeah.
I think going towards that calling will produce natural evolution over time of you pursuing your story. Those events in your story that happen will affect your character and make you evolve and grow over time. And if you don't do that, then you're like devolving over time and de-elevating and not pursuing your story. That's
just scary.
And fucked up.
Scary. When you see it with your eyes, it's like a snake. You're like, ah.
Make you cringe, man.
Seriously.
Make you cringe to your soul.
Medusa-like.
Man. Hell yeah, brother.
Well, it's been a good run.
Yeah, was there anything you wanted to bring up? I think we're over an hour and a half now for the lovely people. Give them some good 38.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of gross stuff today. So, we'll try to talk about more rose-painted imagery maybe in the future. But, vacation's a state of mind.
Yes. We'll end with that. I love that. Because, we're talking about vacation. He just got back. I got back a week or two ago. But it is ultimately a state of mind because you can go on vacation and then come back even more stressed or come back with like, I didn't, I came right back and I still feel the exact same, but I have less money now. Like that sucks. That fucking sucks.
Yeah. No, vacation is a state of mind.
It's a state of mind.
And I think what you're trying to find on vacation is perspective. So, like, I don't know how you always find perspective without pulling yourself out of the thing that you're doing. But, I would keep that in mind. That's what I took away from vacation.
Yeah, whenever you're on vacation, just enjoy the time being off. Enjoy that time. Really enjoy it. Whenever you're sitting there thinking about what should I be doing right now, enjoy the time.
Yeah.
What you should be doing is enjoying your time. So don't let your thoughts run too fast, because it's really easy to try to follow thoughts that you think will bring the joy, the internal joy. It's like, no, I just have it right now. It's like, enjoy this moment.
Facts.
Hell yeah. Enjoy your day. Hopefully you enjoyed the pod. Keep on kicking ass. Keep on chasing those dreams. The bitch is coming.
Can't wait to enjoy more moments with you.
Can't wait to enjoy all these moments with you. Keep going. 38.
Signing out.
Peace.
Rolling through the city to the light show. Really ain't no telling where we might